Welcome to Mixtape Monday Tarot. This is where I let you guys drive the content. It's an homage to my 80s childhood upbringing, where we just do a mixtape of all kinds of stuff that you guys want to see. It's an opportunity for you guys to drive the questions, get answers for pop culture stuff that you're interested in. There's another chance to drive my content in my lives on Tuesday, January 14th. I have a members only live. So if you'd like to become a member, you guys can ask questions in that about yourself, about pop culture. You can come on the screen. I'm starting to give people a link if they want to come on the screen and actually have like a one-on-one chat with me in front of everybody. And on Friday, January 17th, I'm going to have another all-purpose, all hands on deck, general admission live for everybody. And that you can do the same thing. Ask questions about yourself, ask questions about pop culture. Both of them are going to be scheduled now in 2025 at 3:15. I have a tremendous following on the other side of the planet, Australia, New Zealand, and I want to make sure that they get to benefit from some of the live content as well. So I asked my AI assistant if that was a good time. They said yes. So we're going to give it a try for a little bit. So for this week, we're going to be using the Mystic Medleys Tarot. I feel like we need a little bit of levity, a little bit of freshness. And this deck kind of answers that. It's vintage cartoons. It's very cute, and it reads very tongue in cheek. So there will be a link to this in the description of the video if you would like to get one for yourself. So that being said, let's bring up my card view. I hope you guys are having a great day. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I've seen amazing subscriber growth of late, and I want to make sure that we continue that trajectory. So let's bring up the card view, and we are going to get right into it. So first question that I had was a reading on Adele. So I love Adele as a trained singer myself. I absolutely adore her voice. I loved Amy Winehouse, but she was a good antidote when we lost Amy Winehouse. But let's see what's going on with her. She partnered up with Harry and Meghan for a little while, so I think she has distanced herself. We'll take a little bit of a look at that. She also has gotten divorced. She's very dedicated to her son. She is dating a new person, and she finished her Las Vegas residency, and she's taking a little bit of time for herself. There are some people that are not super, super fond of Adele. I am. I think she's funny. She's a cursor. I'm a little concerned about her weight loss. It looks like she went a little bit too far. I like a little bit of chunk on everybody. So I like my pets a little chubby. I like myself a little chubby. I'm not fighting nature anymore. So let's see what is going on for Adele in the first quarter of the year. We're not going to do her whole year. We're just going to see what some of the themes are. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about Adele. If you like her, if you love her. You love her voice. I love her banter in between her songs and sets when she performs live. And I'm sorry, guys, I still am recovering from this cold. My acupuncturist, my Chinese doctor, Dr. Wang, texted me this morning. He goes, I'm very worried about you. So, it's so great when you have a person who really takes your health seriously. But I had to cancel a number of my sessions with him. So I said, no, I'll be in on Wednesday. I'll be in on Wednesday. So Adele is really reordering her life. Now, I don't think that there's a lot of positivity in this, though. So we've got this Ace of Swords in reverse. So it's almost like she is pruning and getting rid of a lot of things that are troubling her or that don't serve her anymore. However, that pruning is not accompanied by a fresh start. It's almost like she's going into a freestyle period of her life. And we have that here too with the Hermit card. So if this were a private reading, and if you'd like to get a private reading, there is a link down below. I've got a couple of sales. I've got a few sales going on for January. Every price point we can hit. So I think I would tell her to kind of structure her next few months a little bit more. I think the busyness, especially with celebrities when they are working very hard, as one would in a Vegas residency. I mean, that's not an easy task. It's akin to doing Broadway shows. Those of you that aren't familiar with Broadway shows, they will do sometimes 2 and 3 performances in a day, and sometimes like up to 6 performances over a weekend. So it can be really, really demanding. The Broadway performers get my utmost respect, just below ballerinas, because ballerinas are amazing athletes. But when you do the Vegas residency, you are night after night after night. Those of you that are not singers, singing is your vocal cords are muscle. You have to keep them in tune, but you also are very susceptible to injury. And it's really important for singers to be cognizant of that and not stretch the limits. Famous singer that did have some vocal issues, Sebastian Bach. Like him, love him, hate him, whatever your opinion is. I had seen him out socially on a number of occasions because he's local to my area. He's a little bit of a head case. Gorgeous, gorgeous guy. Amazing voice, amazing voice. But he had some issues with his voice, had to kind of take a step back and make some adjustments to the way he was singing. I believe that Steve Perry also had a momentary issue with his voice, but I could be wrong on that one. But you'll hear often singers will have polyps on their vocal cords, those kinds of things. That is from stress and from injury. Now, Adele, beautiful voice. I think this caesura, for lack of a better word, the caesura in her public performances, I think, is a really good thing. I do think she needs to kind of rest, recover, take in some recreation time and just chill out. But I want her to be sure that she keeps up the work that she needs to do to keep her vocal cords supple and in tune, if you will. It is an instrument and it's really important to keep it in tune. So strength in reverse, I think there's also a level of gluttony of recreation here. So I mean, it's a funny way to put it, but I almost feel like she is really trying to get all of this recreation time, and it feels very frenetic. One would even say manic, like kind of just going and doing all of the things, not being obligated to going to sleep at night, drinking the tea with lemon, et cetera, et cetera. I just ordered a bunch of lemons because I need some for my voice, because my voice is still not 100%. So others are seeing this, and I do think that this is management, business managers, maybe some of her advisors are letting her know, you can't, you got to strike while the iron's hot. You got to stay on top of it. And there is a certain cadence to destructive production for artists, musicians, that kind of thing. There's the first album that hits really big. It may not be the first album, but the first album that really hits big, makes a big stink. Sometimes performers, bands, organizations will take a step back before they do that second publication or second press drop. Second pressing is what I'm trying to say. And they miss the window of opportunity. They get out of the flow of interest and creation, and sometimes they just miss that. That's not the case with Adele, but that is the message that some of these management folk are doing, and I think she's completely opposed to it, and I think rightly so. She deserves a break. She needs to take a break. Just be a bit more structured about the way that she is taking that break. The Eight of Wands, she really wants to slow down. Like if I could, if I could make a wish happen and I pluck her out of her circumstance and drop her on a tropical island for a few months, I think I would do that. She needs a Gilligan's Island kind of retreat. So I know a lot of celebrities buy places like Mel Gibson. We're going to talk about him a little bit later. Mel Gibson has a place in Costa Rica. I watched his interview with Joe Rogan the other day, yesterday, while I was cleaning. I listened to it. I shouldn't say watch it. But he advised that he may move out of LA now that he's lost his home, and may lean into that Costa Rica property that he has, which makes a lot of sense. Costa Rica, fabulous place, beautiful. And I think we're going to see some of that as well. So we'll talk a little bit about the destiny of Hollywood also later in this reading. So if I could pluck her out and drop her into any kind of circumstance, it would be a Gilligan's Island kind of thing, of course, with, running hot water and hot tubs and things like that. So I think she needs a break. I think she does need to just chill out a little bit and take her time to recover. She's expelled a lot of energy through her marriage, the marriage that was breaking up, the relationship that she is now in, her son, and she always just you can see her light up when she talks about her son. Also, just coming to a close after that Vegas residency it's a big deal. It's a big deal. We all saw Britney Spears after her residency, which really was indentured servitude, but we're not going to talk about her in this video. So let's talk a little bit about Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. So not looking so good. She's made a few weird interviews. Let's just see what's going on. What is she thinking? Those of you that are in LA, again, I'm watching it. I've talked to a number of my friends that are out there. I've paid attention. I have continued to Google my old home that was in Eagle Rock, and it seems that it is outside of the Elton fire. I was between Pasadena and Glendale, so Eagle Rock is right there. Beautiful little place, but it is up in the hills. We had a lot of brush on the side. We had a lot of hillside and a lot of eucalyptus trees. Those of you that are unaware of the foliage that's in California, where I was, the eucalyptus trees, they're very brittle. They are very beautiful and they smell wonderful, but they're chock full of that eucalyptus oil, so they can whoosh go up very, very quickly. I had one that during a drought when I was in California, I lost part of it, and it was this big loud boom when the branches came off it, and my poor neighbor was out on their deck, and I saw them kind of like catching their breath after it, and I was like, oh goodness. But nonetheless, so there is people that don't understand the danger of fire out there. I mean, even my parents, my brother and I had both lived out there, and my parents really were not super aware of what that fire hazard is when you're in Southern California, Los Angeles. So let's see how Karen Bass is doing right now. I know she's not everybody's favorite, but let's see if she's going to do the right thing. Pulling up my card view again. This was a question that someone had asked me privately. The Star, her future is over. Her political future is over, and it's because of the circumstance. So, when I get the Tower card, and I've said this time and time again, the Tower card, when it is in the upright, is something that happens to us. So this is a disaster. Was she in on this whole, the cabal? And if there is something going on engineering wise, you guys know what I'm saying? I don't think she was in on it. I don't think she knew it was going to happen. She was in Africa at an inauguration during the wildfires. She was told about them before she left, to some urgent expression of what was going on. But when the Tower is in reverse, that is usually something we do to ourselves. And I think in this case, this is a circumstance that she really did not know what was going on. Was she in on the cabal? I think she is very upset because they did not include her in the end game or the strategy that was going to be employed. So I don't think that she was included. I think she is being hung out to dry like this hangman. I think she is being left out on her own. She's kind of a fall guy in this situation. Now, just let's detour a little bit and talk about Gavin Newsom. Is he part of the cabal? 5 of Wands, Ace of Cups. There is a strategy within the powers that be that engineered this. There is a strategy there to resurrect him. This Ace of Cups is a resurrection card. They're going to try and fix this for him. Is it going to work? No, there are too many ordinary people that are going to be opposed to what he did or didn't do and opposed to his response to it. So the ordinary people are outnumbering the celebrities. The celebrities are not happy and they are rethinking. This is an opportunity for California and Los Angeles itself, Southern California, to go in a more conservative fashion politically. I do think that we're going to see some fallout from this. We're going to see some interesting fallout. I think we're going to see some people will surprise us. Some people are going to step up and say, hey, this isn't what I signed up for. I've been here. I pay my taxes. I pay a lot of taxes. Those of you that don't live in California, it is extraordinarily expensive to live there, tax wise, and also just your everyday expenses. It's very, very expensive to live there. So, I do think, and just to give you an example, I bought my house and I had city lights. I had a gorgeous home. It was about 2,000 square feet, 1965 ranch. I bought it for 227 in 1996. It is now estimated at 1.3. Kills me every day that I didn't hang on to it, but so be it. A lovely young lady bought it from me. So, I do think that we're going to see some tide turning politically and the way people think, and the more openness toward some different types of management of forestry, government in general. I think the Karen Basses of the world that are more or less installed, and I am going to say installed. I think that's not to say that the election was rigged or anything like that, but I think that the promotion of said person, Karen Bass, really eclipsed the competitors that would have tried to compete with her for the office. So that more or less, I think we're going to see some interesting things. Northern California is um, a bit more moderate, let's put it that way. It's not, hardcore. It's not a conservative state or a part of a state. I've always thought of California as two different states. There's Southern California. There's a little bit of middle California, like that Sacramento area. And then Northern California is very, very different in terms of the way that people think and behave. Like, I really am quite fond of Northern California. It does feel like a great place. Mount Shasta, awesome place. That's where the Lemurians allegedly went after their island sank. But I do think that we're going to see some changes come out of California. We will do a conspiracy reading on the fires on my members only channel. That'll be an exclusive members only video this week. So you can keep an eye out for that. You can go become a member if you'd like to check it out. I'll give away some memberships this week in my general admission live. So you may even get a little sneak peek into the members only videos. So let's talk a little bit about Mel Gibson. So those of you that haven't watched the Joe Rogan interview with him, fabulous interview. I know that Mel Gibson went through some difficulty some time ago, and he does talk in the interview with Joe Rogan a bit about substance abuse and what he had done and the changes that he's gone through in his life, his successes. He talks about his proclivity to telling a great story on film, which I thought was a really great part of it. But he talks about an energy healer that he had worked with at one point. So if you have a couple of hours, go watch the video. It's actually very illuminating. I, prior to the video, really thought that he was a dyed-in-the-wool Catholic, and that's not to say that he is straying from his faith at all. I thought Apocalypto was an amazing movie. He's got one coming out now with the Resurrection, and I'm here for it. I can't wait to see it. The Last Temptation of Christ is one of my favorite movies with William Dafoe. Really, really powerful movie. Mel Gibson, of course, had the other movie about the crucifixion, and just he's an amazing talent and totally hot stuff. I don't care if he's almost 70s; he is wicked hot still. So, and he had a lot of things to say. There was some anti-Semitism that he said. He was very, very sexist in his pullover with the police officers, who cannot forget sugar tits. But I think he's come a long way from that, and I think he really did set himself apart. Fun fact about him, I always thought he was Australian, but he's actually American born and moved to Australia for a little while with his family. So, very, very interesting. So Mel Gibson unfortunately lost his home. And like I said, that was something that was revealed to him during the interview with Joe Rogan. So it was kind of amazing. He really took it in stride. He really was like, you know what? It's a house. We got out of there. One of his sons is a volunteer firefighter. I think he calls him the mayor of something. He calls him the mayor of something, or something like that. It's in the interview. Go watch the interview. I'm going to have to put a link in this so you guys can see it. But let's see what's going to happen with Mel Gibson, because I have some predictions about the Hollywood machine anyway. I think the Hollywood machine is going to change. I think we're going to see more big stars like Mel Gibson start their own mini studio. So it's going to be like a very independent feel, but big money attached to it. So it's not going to be, Clerks with Kevin Smith, small budget, and we're just, telling a really great story with a small budget. I think we're going to see more celebrities telling the stories they want to tell with their money in a fashion that is appropriate for them without all the red tape. So let's see what Mel Gibson's going to do. Is he really going to move over to Costa Rica? And is he going to follow this trend that I think we're going to see? Because I am predicting some interesting things are going to happen. So moving out of LA, absolutely. He's not been happy with Southern California and the California lifestyle for some time. There has been a bit of a boot on his neck. And that boot on his neck is energizing, because the more people dislike him, the more people kind of cross him or take issue or umbrage with him, the more it fuels him to come to the table with a spirit of generosity and intellectual data. So let me know in the comments what you think of Mel Gibson. Have you forgiven him for the diatribe that he had when he got pulled over? I don't know. I think it was like over 20 years ago now. Let me know what you think of him, because I despite him being fairly anti-Semitic in that conversation, and my father being Jewish, I still was like, you know what? I mean, he might have an issue there. Like, I don't know what exactly is going on. And I hope no one's finding me, siding with someone who's anti like that. I'm certainly not. But I felt like there was more behind that than just him broad brushing everyone that was Jewish in Hollywood. So I think he really, from that situation, of course, he's not using the substances that he used to. He's kind of cleaned himself out entirely. But I think now he takes a lot of time to educate himself and have this body of knowledge so that he can counter the emotionality of people of like and dislike in Hollywood. So, and that's the whole spin on blackballing. Someone doesn't like you. They don't like what you said. We are going to blackball you in the industry. So I think that he counters that with a certain amount of intelligent data that he can impart. So are we going to Costa Rica? Absolutely going to Costa Rica. And you all know, if you follow me, the lover's card is a business card. This isn't just romance. This isn't moving to a romantic place in, the other hemisphere. I don't know if it's the other hemisphere, but not in California. Let's put it that way. So are we going to see him put together a studio there? How awesome would that be? Queen of Wands, he's thinking about it. It's not quite there yet. He needs to go down there and figure out, again, this is compiling and processing data. So I think he's going to go down there. He's going to cool his heels for a little bit, lick his wounds after losing the house, kind of figure things out. But I think he's going to start a studio down there in Costa Rica. I think it'll be small scale. I think we'll get a soundstage kind of building, and then they'll use the local environment respectfully, and I think that that's really this balancing act that we see here with the Queen of Wands. We're not going to start it until we can do it respectfully, but I think he's going to start bringing people in to start filming there and filming the stuff that he wants to film, the stories he wants to tell. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm here for it. Let's see how this all shakes out for him. Is that going to be a good pathway for him? Is that going to be a good pathway for him? He's going to meet some resistance. And I almost want to say there's going to be an attempt to interfere with that. So are we talking about, like, the what is it, SAG and the film industry? Yeah, but you know what he's going to do? He's not always going to use big name actors and actresses. He's not going to do that. He's actually going to be pulling in more people, more interesting people, and more talent. We're getting back to the discovery of talent in odd places. So you're walking through the airport, you see a beautiful young boy walk by, and you go, "Hey, can you act? You want me to teach you how to act? I need somebody just like you to play blah 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 in blah 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 movie that I want to put together. We're going to go down to Costa Rica, we're going to surf, we're going to lay in the sun, we're going to talk about cool stuff, and we're going to put you in a film." So it's maybe not necessarily career actors that wind up in his film, but maybe one-off people, maybe somebody who just jumps in and does a role real quick and gets in and gets out and goes back to their job in, corporate finance, or dog bone production. I don't know, like, anything like that. This is going to be very interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on Mel Gibson for the time being. I think he's one to watch. Now, that's a prediction. I'm putting it right now. Prediction: Mel Gibson, one to watch in 2025. I think he's going to be cooking up some cool plans that we're going to hear about more toward the end of 2025. Let's talk Diddy. Let's talk about Diddy. I'm hesitant to really discuss him, but I think we kind of need to. He obviously is in jail, but there was some weird news. Like, a lot of people were talking about, LA is burning because they're getting rid of the tunnels and the evidence and all this stuff. I don't know if that is the case. I think that there is something suspicious and unusual about what is happening with the fires, but I don't think it has to do with Diddy. I think it has to do with something a little bit larger. So, do they get to wipe this off the mat? Like, this terrible relation that they have to get rid of. Yeah, they're going to do that. So that is happening, but that's almost a byproduct of the situation. Let's see how Diddy is feeling. His house has thus far, and it is right now 2:31 New York time on January 13th. How does he feel thus far about his house escaping the damage? So what are we thinking? This is weird. He almost is like, yeah, like it would not be a bad thing if it went anyway, because I'm not going to be back there. They could sell the property. I'm not going to be back there. I think he really is. Oh, and let me pull up the card view. I think he's really resigned to the fact that he's not going to get out of jail. I think he knows, guys. I think he knows. I think the evidence is telling him you're not getting out, buddy. His lawyers have said you're going to have to do the time on this. He responds by, it's going to take some time. Let's make it as easy as possible. So I think the negotiation now for Diddy is going to be in terms of quality of confinement. So quality of confinement, he's not going to be able to go into minimum security or something like that, but we're probably shopping for a particular prison that has a little bit better of a reputation, put him into, a secure situation, probably going to be the solitary confinement. I know that sounds terrible. If I were in prison, if I had the misfortune of going to prison, I think I would opt to stay in my cell all day long, maybe, try and get into that solitary confinement, because the book cart's going to come by and I'll get some books. I'll just keep reading books. I am an avid reader. At any given time, I'm reading between like 1 and 10 books at the same time. So it takes me a long time. Like if you ever look at my Goodreads, it takes me a long time to finish a book, but it's usually because I'm reading like 10 different books at the same time. I also listen on Audible, big fan of Audible. Typically because I am a little ADHD myself, I like to get the Audible and the Kindle version, and I read along with it as it's reading to me. So just makes it a little bit easier for my comprehension. Love it. I can always listen in the car. But I think he is looking for quality of confinement here. And this is the big negotiation. So, that scene in Sleeping Beauty where the fairy godmothers come in and the last one says, I can't undo the curse, but I can soften it. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a softening of the curse, so to speak. So I think Diddy is really, really confident that he is going to be in for some time. Not really worried about it. Doesn't really care about the house. Not a big deal. So, we'll hear more. We've got lots of time before we have to hear any more about that. It's going to take some time. There's going to be a lot more victims and testimony coming out. So, this is going to be our 2025, guys, or at least Diddy's 2025. So let's talk about Donald Trump. Today is the 13th of January. We are 7 days away from inauguration. So what is going to happen? Let's take a look at the inauguration day. Let's see what we are doing there, what's happening. I'm just noticing that I have my name up. I don't know why that's up there. I have to get rid of that. I mean, it doesn't make a difference. You guys know my name, but it's blocking my tree. So let's see what we can expect. We'll check in with Donald Trump. We will check in with Inauguration Day immediately after. So let's see. Donald Trump, he is in that position of power. He is calling the shots, making things happen. This team is really spectacular. The team that he has put together is truly, truly spectacular. And it's giving him the opportunity to not be a solo runner. He is in a relay race with this team. And together, the sum of the parts is more, the sum is more than equal to the parts. So the addition on this is really, we get a really spectacular kind of holding down of the fort. The team that he's putting together individually, we're going to see people step up. It's going to be very, very much like a great board meeting. So he will say, this is what we're going to do. And then he's going to have Vivek stand up. Then he's going to have Tulsi Gabbard stand up. Then we're going to see RFK Jr. stand up. And everyone is going to be driving home the same points, the same way, but with a slightly different flavor. So I think we're really Two of Cups. Oh, like guys, the lovers in Two of Cups, we get cooperation to make correction. So any of the things that they're going to do that some people may say, he's taking away our rights, any of the things that he'll do in that sense, they are going to be deflecting that and explaining that this is like forestry. We're clearing away the brush so that we can get to business and salvage the country, salvage our economy, and make this a good place. You know, the saying of let's make America great again, I think cannot be understated in this case. We really are about to see that golden age of the United States of America. So welcome to the party, guys. I think we're really going to have a great time. And again, this isn't about, not when I say party, I don't mean the Republican Party. As I've said a million times, I am a libertarian. I am right smack in the middle. I want people minding their own business and staying out of mine. I do put some faith in the government, and I will help my neighbor as needed. If we had a flood coming, I would be putting those sandbags out with them. So, it's about really taking responsibility for the local action and not letting not waiting for help to come. There's a financial book called No One Is Coming to Save You. That is such a great way to look at the way that the United States is headed. This is going to be an age of you can be great, you can make yourself great, but no one is going to do it for you. Don't expect anyone to write your story. You get to write your story, and you get to help people along the way. So let's look at Inauguration Day. Those of you, again, that follow me, you know that I've been talking about Trump doing a speech from the back of a vehicle as it's moving. And it's akin to the fight, fight, fight moment. He is saying, don't be afraid. Don't stand down. Don't freak out. Just stay the course. Stay the course. We have to stay the course. This is a moment. This is a small battle that we're slipping a little, but we are about to, overcome. And if we stay together, things are going to be great. So what is going to happen on Inauguration Day? Let's talk about the morning. What do we got for breakfast on Inauguration Day? We've got information about people that are going to disrupt it. That is the case. But we do get the military that comes in and says, we are going to back this up. We cannot have an incident like we had January 6th, 2020. 2020? Was that 2020? Yeah, I guess it was 2020. So we can't have this, or 2021. We can't have that same situation. The military is going to be right in step with this because they don't want to be criticized for what's happening. So we're going to have intelligence. I don't know if us regular people are going to hear it, but we will have intelligence, or I should say the government will have intelligence that there's going to be disruptions. With that, we're going to see less opportunity for everybody to get in there. It's going to be less chaotic, but we're going to have more production value. So do we get areas that are going to have big screens, meetings, so that people can see up close and personal? Of course, it's televised, but I think outside in the surrounding area of DC, I think they're going to create these little paddocks almost where they'll put up a screen and you can kind of watch it from there. So you're still getting that first level energy and dose of excitement because you're on site, but you're not as close as you want to be. So they're going to make it easy for people to be able to actually see it and consume that kind of vibration and excitement. They're going to be able to do that. So that's our morning. So that's going to be what's going on. And I think those plans are in place now. Tulsi Gabbard, I think, has a lot to do with that. But there's another woman who's kind of planning these paddocks with like digital boards so that people can actually see what's happening. So what do we got by mid-morning, right before Nine of Pentacles? Everything's going to be under control. Any eventuality is going to be explored and dealt with They are going to, again, like I keep talking about simulations and AI. I think that they run these simulations for everything. So they're going to be able to anticipate what may happen and strategize a variety of responses. So it's not going to be up to one guy, one general, one military person to go, well, what do we do in this situation? It's not going to be left to that. It's going to they're going to have a protocol and a strategy laid out for all these different situations, and they're going to respond. Do we still have an incident? Yes, I think we do. I think we have someone who causes a ruckus and makes a fuss. Do we get the president out of there, the newly inaugurated president? Do we get him out of there? Is this where I am seeing this truck, this speeding vehicle, 9 of Cups, Death card? I think quite possibly. I think we quite possibly see an incident where we do have to remove the president from the situation with some level of haste, but not retreat. We're not going to get a retreat. And I think the message that he gives is a message of love and a message of inspiration. It's not like, F those people, we're going to go kick their butts. It's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be like, listen, logical, reasonable people, we're going to hold the line. We're going to stand the test of time, and we are going to overcome, because the United States needs to be made great again. So I think it's inspirational. I think we have another moment like Butler. I think we have that moment where we really see a president stand up and, get in the line of fire and, demonstrate bravery, demonstrate steadfastness. What do we need in this country more than that? Nothing. Steadfastness and bravery and really working for the people, I think, is super, super key in this. So I think this is great. I didn't call out everybody's names who asked the questions, and I apologize for that. I was a little late, and I wanted to make sure I got this out. Hopefully, I'm going to have it up by 3 o'clock. It is 1:15 right now, but I think you guys are fantastic. We've got lots coming up this week. So make sure you come into the lives. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and make sure that we see each other in the future. I'll see you soon.